Hi, I'm Movie Man. I'm an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on. Alright, so Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Now, this is a film which has taken quite a while to come out now, because it has been 5 years now since the first Aquaman. Um, and yeah, a lot has happened in the 5 years that have passed since the first Aquaman came out regarding a certain actress who stars in it. But yeah, this film has gone through multiple post production and also some pre-release controversy, considering you know who is still in it. But even then, it's the last movie in the DCEU, obviously, because the whole franchise is being rebooted now after this film. So yeah, this is the final movie in the DCEU. Now, this was a film which I wasn't really that looking forward to because, well, just with all the controversy with the film pre-release and just the fact that it's the final movie in the DCEU and then the whole franchise is just being rebooted. Yeah, there just wasn't really that much hope in this film. It just seemed like a really pointless movie that was being put out just to basically die. Now, and even the trailer, the trailer did make the film look a bit fun, but yeah. Aside from the fact that, Mera is only in the trailer for a single second, for obvious reasons. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there is quite a few times in that trailer where they actually just straight up reuse shots from the first film, but kind of change them up a slight bit to make them look as if they're new shots. The moment that trailer was released, I literally just noticed it straight away. But anyways, yeah, so now the film is out and I went to see it there nearly 2 days ago now, and even though it's only been nearly 2 days since I saw the film, I'm starting to forget about this movie already. Yeah, I don't know if I call this movie straight up bad, because it does have some enjoyment to it, but I don't know if I can call it great either. The cinematography is okay. I'll admit the movie is shot well enough. I think the cinematography tries its best to make all the locations look pretty nice, even if it can't really do its best at that, but it's okay cinematography. The editing is fine. It's not great editing or anything, but it's it's okay. Like it's fine. Editing, um, the pace in this film is not that great though. Like this film, it's 2 hours and 4 minutes, which I mean, it's a fine runtime for a movie like that. Well, it is actually shorter than the first film because the first movie I think it was like 2 hours and 21 minutes, but this film is 2 hours and 4 minutes. And I mean, I'll be honest, I did not think the pacing in this film was all that great. I just thought the movie kind of really like rushed through a lot of its scenes. It didn't help that the plot was a bit disjointed, and so yeah, I just thought like the pace just it kind of just went through everything a bit too quickly. Honestly, yeah, I just thought it kind of rushed. I think a huge part of this film is that it never really slows down. Like the whole film is just basically the whole movie. It's action sequence after action sequence after action sequence, and it didn't really like annoy me too much, but I never really felt there was really that much time where the film kind of took its time, kind of slows down a bit. I just thought the pace in this film was a bit too quick. The music in the film is, oh, it's okay. It's nice enough. Granted, it is pretty much just the same music from the first film, but it's nice enough music nonetheless. The visual effects in this movie, I'm gonna be honest, you guys. I thought the visual effects in this film looked pretty damn bad. Like, it's just, I thought the whole movie, it was just CGI overload. I'm sorry, I thought there was just way too much CGI in the film. And like, I don't just mean during the underwater scenes, like even on the land scenes, a lot of it just looks very like artificial. Even when the characters are like in water, too much friction, like like when they be floating in the water and stuff, we don't really get any of that in the film, so yeah, it's just, yeah, the CGI is not that. The visual effects in this film I thought were not very good. And what makes it even more embarrassing is the fact that the week prior to seeing this film, I went to see Godzilla Minus One, a film which has a way lower budget than this film, and yet that movie's visual effects looked far superior in comparison. Like, as I said in that review, I think at this point now, like, when we get a film that has a budget of less than 100 million, and yet it looks way superior to a lot of films with budgets of over hundreds of millions, I honestly think at this point that should actually just be a crime. Like, how can films with budgets of hundreds of millions look this bad, honestly? What makes it, like, even Blue Beetle looks better than this film, and what makes it even more embarrassing, Blue Beetle was meant to be a direct-to-streaming film, and yet that film's visual effects looks way better than both this film and The Flash combined. Yeah, so I did not think the visual effects here were that great. As for the characters, well, of course, our main two characters in the film are Arthur and Orm. And I mean, Arthur was still pretty much his usual self, but he was still a fun character, and well, Jason Momoa once again is just he just has a lot of fun in this role again. So yeah, he was good enough. Then we have his brother Orm, who in this film, because he was the main antagonist of the previous movie, but in this film he actually becomes a good guy, and he helps Arthur fight Manta and stuff. But nonetheless, he was an interesting character turn. And there was a bit of broader chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson, which I'll admit was, it did kind of carry the film a bit, but yeah, Orm was a solid character here. Then we have the character who I was most excited to see in the movie, Black Manta. And I mean, he was good, don't get me wrong. I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was very menacing in the role, but honestly, I just thought, like, because I don't think he was as good as I was hoping he would be, because from the trailers he looks like he was going to be, like, the best part of the movie, but I mean, he was a good villain, but I just thought they could have done a better job with him. Like, the whole thing of him becoming possessed by the underwater curse thingy. I don't know, I thought they could have just left that bit out. Just have him be like, they just could have done better with him, honestly. Just have him be so vengeful over the fact that he lost his father to Aquaman. So he was good, but I think he could have been a bit better, honestly. A lot of the other characters in the film, was in the previous film. They are in this film, but they don't really properly get involved until the third act. Throughout the second act, they're just completely absent. You're probably wondering if Mera is actually in this film, and she actually is in it a bit, but yeah, she's not really in this film a whole lot. You can kind of tell that they did cut some of her scenes. She was not really in this film that much. Same with some of the other characters like Atlanta, Thomas, King Nereus. They got the same amount of screen time, but they weren't really in the film that much. They were kind of just there, honestly, just because they were in the first film. One character who actually was in this more than I expected was Stephen Shin, who is of course Randall Park's character. He was actually in this movie a lot more than I thought he would be, and I thought he was okay. I mean, you could kind of tell where they were going with his character, but he was alright. So the characters overall were fine, but yeah, I thought they could have done a better job with some of the characters. The plot of the movie, the plot of this film is, obviously Manta is the main villain now, and Arthur and Dorm have, they got to team up, to go fight him and stuff, and I mean, it's a fine plot. One, the film executes in a fun way. I think, the brotherly bond in this film between Orm and Arthur, I quite enjoy it. I'm not really a huge fan of the whole plot with David Kane becoming possessed by the underwater thingy. Like, they didn't even really delve into it that much until the third act about what it really is and stuff. It kind of felt like a bit of an afterthought. Like, I mean, the film's plot, it was basically it was just kind of a dumb superhero movie plot. As I mentioned, it's action sequence after action sequence after action sequence. It's not great, but I mean, it does make for an enjoyable enough time, but nothing really spectacular, nothing you haven't really seen before. So the plot of the film is fine, but nothing that great. Um, the narrative structure of the film, like the movie, it mainly there's not really that a clear, full on narrative. The plot is basically just Arthur has to break out his evil brother from the last movie, and the two of them gotta go fight the secondary villain from the previous film. Again, that's it's a very basic plot like that, and it's a fine narrative, but it's just kind of a dumb superhero film narrative, and it kind of goes in all the ways you'd expect it to be. There's nothing you're not really expecting from this film. That it's just a very basic superhero movie. It's fine as a turn off your brain film, but it's not something which you're gonna remember for too long. Overall, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom is a fine movie at best. Like it has okay characters. It's a fun enough watch. It's a dumb superhero movie, but even with that being said, it's a forgettable enough film. Like I'm already starting to kind of forget that I saw this film, and it hasn't even properly been 2 days yet since I saw it. Yeah. And honestly, I thought it was a very anticlimactic way to end the DCEU. Um, I mean, like, if you enjoy the first Aquaman film, or if you just want to if you want to watch a dumb superhero movie, just turn your brain off for 2 hours, then it's fine. But even then, there's much better superhero movies you could be watching. Hell, even the first Aquaman was better than this. Like, I mean, I'll say out of the four DC movies that we got this year, I think this is probably the weakest one. I mean, between this and the Flash, like, well, the Flash, I mean, it did have bad visual effects, but I found it was more enjoyable and more memorable, at least, than this was. So overall, this is not a bad film, but a very forgettable one, and really not a great way to end the DCEU. So with that, I'm going to give Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom a 5 out of 10. And so, with that, we have now officially come to the end of the DCEU. That's right, after only 10 years of existing, the DCEU is officially over. Now we are moving on to the DCU, which is basically it's gonna be restarting the whole thing all over again. And I mean, I'll be honest, the DCU was definitely a very mixed bag of a universe. To be fair, we did get some good movies, but we also got some not very good films. And then towards the end, I mean, I did like Shazam 2 and Blue Beetle, but a lot of the other films were just really in the middle. Um, but yeah, so the universe is over now. And yeah, yeah, it was kind of no wonder that they decided to reboot the franchise, because like, well, I mean, like the whole thing, it was a continuity mess, and there was just a whole bunch of production nightmares. They wanted it to be like the MCU way too hard. There was so much creative differences between all the people involved with it, so yeah, no wonder it's come to an end now. I will miss some of the casting choices like Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill's Superman, but there's also some other casting choices like Ezra Miller's Flash and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, which I'm honestly okay with them being recast. But yeah, so Aquaman The Lost Kingdom is this now marks the end of the DCU. And the DCU will begin in 2025 with Superman Legacy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And have a wonderful Christmas. Take care, everyone, and bye.